LUME Institute and University City Children's Center, it's really been a fascinating blend, particularly in this season. You know, in 1980 when the organization was started, it was founded on diversity, equity, and racial justice, which was pretty progressive back in those days, but it has carried forward. And what we have learned about the dynamics of today's racial equity, diversity, and inclusion is that we believe that if we really want to create systemic change, that we want to interrupt it in childhood. So what we do is focus on how children understand diversity, how they understand inclusion, and how they see equity as an important part of their day. And it is built into a child's emotional development. To help teachers live in the space and see the purity of how children interact with each other, because children call it out the way it is. And they are right there with it without any of the bias or any of the predetermined experiences. They are right there with it. And what we need to do as educators is really get into their puddle and begin understanding it. And they teach us how we need to respond to them. And as we have teachers understand development as a catalyst for systemic change and enhancement of equity and inclusion and diversity, then we start having teachers help children socialize it. How do you really intentionally socialize it? And as we hear the children and we start helping children socialize it, how do we begin programs with that truly embedded as a function of the culture? And then the leadership takes what we've learned from our children and builds it into the culture of the organization. And with the organizations that we work with, we believe as we help children and teachers and leaders understand it upside down, that we think the sustainability of the promotion of diversity, equity, and inclusion has more legs to it and will grab more. So we're doing all the work here. Then we have all the people that disrupt up here, but they still have to do the work here. So we're reversing it and moving it up. Well, LUME's apprenticeship program, we were, when we first started it, one of the first apprenticeship programs that was registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. We are also registered in the state of Missouri and in the state of Illinois. And we saw it as an opportunity to really help people who have the real heart and soul for children, who may have had interesting experiences in their educational life or were not necessarily successful in their college endeavors. And it provides an opportunity for people to learn in a safe environment, just like we want to do for children. Give them a safe environment. So to embed the CDA into the apprenticeship program was just really logical for us. So we understand the CDA, the 120 hours of the CDA classwork, but we've also added in a whole line of emotional responsive practices. So these candidates who come in really with open hearts, really want to learn, we encourage them to figure out the why in the work they do. So they are in their apprenticeship, and we really provide between 140 and 150 hours of classroom work. And then when they go in and do their 480 hours of on-the-job training, we really want to support them throughout their on-the-job training with methods and concepts that we shared with them in the CDA. So it's not a one and done. So our CDA process as part of our apprenticeship is really about dialogue and conversations. So they finish up their CDA and there's an exit ramp for the candidates if they think enough is enough, or they can stay in and we continue the reflective coaching and supervision while they're in their 2,000 hours of on-the-job training. And then at the end of that 2,000 hours, their name is submitted to the U.S. Department of Labor, and they get this beautiful certificate a journey worker's certificate from the U.S. Department of Labor. And we believe that CDA is the catalyst to begin wrapping our arms around workforce differently. So we have CDA and then to expand it, and for us to embed the emotionally responsive practices throughout the whole CDA process. At University City Children's Center and at LUME Institute, we really want to support the men in the field because men do teach differently than women do. And it's been really interesting. And as a male in the field, I'm in my 53rd year. There was things that I tried to say, no, we're all the same. We teach differently, and children look at us differently. So we really want to support men in the field, but most importantly, we really have to make sure that we don't lose the fact that they have to be good teachers first. They have to be good teachers. And for decades, people tried to get me out of the classroom and put me in administrative roles because I was a man. As we help grow and support male teachers at our school, we currently have 4 to 5 male teachers in the classroom. 2 of them are working with babies. How do we give them the emotional support and the emotional courage to stay in their truth as a male, as a nurturing male? Men have some unique challenges in the field, but more so than ever before, our men need it for our children. Our little folks really need to see they need to see the nurturing male figure. And it's not just the boys need a man, but the little girls need to know what a gentle, tender man can look like. The moment that really is propelling me the most is observing what teachers really need through this conference. They are coming here with looking for tools, searching for the answer. And what I'm realizing is that they don't realize the answer is in the mirror. The answer is in themselves. And this is an opportunity for this conference to help educators understand that if they want to make change, they have to look here. It's not reading the story about the runaway bunny. It's about the child who is on their lap while they're reading Runaway Bunny. It's about the child who is throwing the chair across the room, and the necessity for the teachers to understand what their role is in those behaviors. And this is what I'm seeing in this conference right now, is people searching for the answer. And we really want to drive home the fact that the answer is in them. They are the best tool, the best piece of equipment in the classroom. So I am so honored to be part of this conference and to have the opportunity, particularly as I do the keynote at the end, to really give people and our teachers and educators an opportunity to leave feeling inspired, and we want them to feel intrigued with the self-search for self as a teacher, and to be ignited to take the first step in the journey.